Great, thank you very much. All right, so this whole thing is called PolicyPak. You got to try this. So we have all these people who've been like, I've heard of PolicyPak. I know sort of about it. I know you've been a long time in business. What's the story? So now's your time to try this. So first, I like to get started with what PolicyPak is not. I know it's kind of a weird place to start, but there's so many, this is just my favorite place. First, we're not a handy collection of ADM files. Like you can get those anywhere. That's not what we do. We're not a replacement for what you're already doing with group policy preferences, or Citrix in the box stuff. Like we're not trying to overlap with something you already have or you've already invested in. We're not a replacement for SCCM, Landesk, Case, Ghost, whatever. Like those tools do a great job at those things. We're not a replacement for MDM or Intune, AirWatch, or Mobile Iron. Those guys do a great job with that. And we're also not sold separately. So when you see the demos that I'm going to show you, and this is like the all demo channel here, if you like anything, well, you get it all included. You just have to make one decision, and we'll talk about that around the bend. We have no databases, no architecture changes. So it's just ready to rock. We have a little moving part called a client-side extension that has to be installed in there. We run right alongside group policy or your MDM service. We work with desktops, laptops, VDI, Citrix, real and virtual apps. Man, basically, if it's Windows, man, we work with it. It's just that simple. And then we also work alongside existing profile management utilities. So if you've invested in something like an FS Logix, we will work perfectly alongside it. In fact, those guys are our friends and our partners. So the point is like if you've already got something that does profile management, we are a fantastic add-on to that. So you can see PolicyPak is a suite of stuff. You just have to make the one decision. Do you want to do it on-prem, MDM, or cloud? And then you get all the utilities that are included in one shot, and you'll see that. So like I said, the on-prem edition is best for Citrix, desktops, VDI, laptops. Basically, if you're going to use group policy, that's the on-prem edition. It's so funny. The last presenter talked about, hey, wouldn't it be amazing if there was some magical group policy merge tool? There is. We have one, and it's included in our on-prem edition and works alongside our on-prem edition. We will not have time to talk about that today, but it is awesome, and you can check that out, or I can help you get to that. We also have our MDM edition that works alongside Intune, AirWatch, and Mobile Iron. A lot of people are trying to get their on-prem group policy objects out there. This is the way to do that. So if we're not going to be talking about that in this talk either, but in this demo set, but if you've got on-prem GPOs and you want to get them out there using your Intune, we are the only way to do that for all of group policy security, admin templates, preferences, and so on. We get everything out there. PolicyPak Cloud is great for MSPs and also works with non-domain joined machines as well. We also have a little add-on utility called the Compliance Reporter, which helps you know, did your settings actually make it out there on your endpoints? So when this demo is over, okay, this is how you're going to possibly win a copy of my book. You're going to tweet, you got to try this at PolicyPak on #Citrix. And when you do, I will reach out to you and pick you if you are the winner. So you got to tweet, you got to try this at PolicyPak on Citrix. I'll give you a reminder of that when it's time, okay? But let me show you how it all works. Again, this is the on-prem version, and it's basically group policy based. So the idea is you can take any given group policy object, give it any name you want, like PPOP1, okay, and click edit in the GPO here. And we hook right into the group policy infrastructure you already know and love. In other words, you already know how to use it. So we just hook right in, and we're going to be going over demonstrations about how we're going to use these various toolkits in your Citrix world. So let me switch over to my Citrix world and show you what I've got here. So this is my Citrix server hanging out, ready for me to use it. And this is a typical client. This is a Windows 10 machine. It's got a Citrix folder and all the things I run. So if I double click on Notepad, this is obviously coming from the Citrix server. Now, the thing about these applications is that they're important to configure on your real machines and in your Citrix world. So the very first thing I'm going to show you, and this is where we kind of got famous, is this idea of managing the heck out of applications configurations. For instance, if I were to double click on Firefox, now it's to double click on Java here. Again, this is coming over from the Citrix world, and we're going to see the presentation of these guys. And you might want to set something simple like the Firefox homepage or the Java security settings, and so on. How the heck are you going to do that? You can't bake it into your image, and even if you did that, it would mean that a user could just work around those settings at any time. So let's go ahead and let me just show you in Firefox land, which is coming from Citrix here. If I go to Tools Options here, and I were to take a look at the home page, you can see that that's not set. If I take a look at privacy and security, we don't want to remember logons and passwords for websites. That's a terrible idea. We don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and close this out here. Let's go back over to my GPMC just to make things go a little bit smoother. I've got the demos already staged in Policyland, so I'm going to go ahead and link it, but I'm going to show you what I did so that there's no mystery about what's going on here. So here on the computer side, in PolicyPak land, I'm starting off with the thing we kind of got famous for, Application Settings Manager. You can see I've got two entries, one for Firefox, one for Java land. And in Firefox land, when you double click it, hey man, it looks just like Firefox. You can set the home page, you can right click and lock down configurations so users can't work around it. You can uncheck checkboxes like remember password for sites. You can drive in certificates, you can set bookmarks, man, you can do everything. Same thing for Oracle and Java rather. You can do things like uncheck setting for updates. You can set things like the security settings and guarantee values like high value here, and you can set the site Java site exceptions list and just do just about freaking everything. Here you can set these individual checkboxes, whatever you need to make your Java work perfectly. Let's go over to our Citrix box here. Now this would naturally occur in the background, but because I'm kind of doing it in real time, I have to go over to the Citrix box to run GP update. Again, normally your Citrix machine would just pull this information down. So once this has been achieved, we'll go back to our endpoint here and let's see it actually take effect. So once again, I'll hit Firefox first. We'll double click that guy. Again, this is coming from the Citrix box. And now this time when Firefox runs, the expectation is okay. Here it is. We got the Citrix homepage just the way we expect. And now if we go to Tools Options here, and we take a look, you can see it's delivered and it's locked down. And if we go to Firefox, we go to privacy and security, boom, we've unchecked and forcefully made it so that a user cannot remember the logons and password for websites. If we were to go over to Java land and get that presented here to us, we're going to go ahead and see what the Java looks like on the Citrix server here and see if we've configured that appropriately for our contingent. And we can see, boom, we've got no more update tab. And if we were to go over to security, boom, we've driven in high security. We've set the Java site exceptions list. We've set advanced security settings. And just like that, you are now more secure in your applications themselves than you were 10 minutes ago. You've made it so that users can't work around it, and you are in charge now, not your users. Let's continue onward and talk about Java. In fact, let's go back to the Citrix server. Let me go and take a look here in Control Panel. I want to show you something. You've probably seen this before, but you didn't know why this existed. Notice how you've got Java 7, 67, 825, 131. Basically, Java lets you install multiple versions on the same box. Why does it let you do this? Well, in the guts of Java somewhere, there's this thing called Java deployment rule sets. And the thing is that if you're on your box here and you double click on, say, Internet Explorer, and this is again coming from the Citrix server, if you were to ask Java, what version of Java do I have? It's only going to tell you the latest one. But the thing is that you might have a website that requires a very particular version of Java. So I were to go to java.com here, and I were to say, take a look and say, do I have Java? This thing is going to say, yeah, you sure do. You have the latest version. Okay. Yep, I've got the latest version as the Citrix server knows it. And that's not great because you might have some time card app or some specialty app that requires a particular version of Java, but then you want the latest version of Java to be the most secure. Well, how are you going to solve that challenge? Well, that's where PolicyPak Java Rules Manager comes in. So we'll go back over here, and I've got a pre-configured policy for this. Let me go ahead and link enable it and click edit here, show you what's going on here. So what's going on here is now under computer side, PolicyPak Java Rules Manager, one of our components here. The idea is that I've just set two rules here, and it's as simple as pie. You just simply say, hey, whenever I go to this location, https://java.com, I want to run 825 exactly. If I don't see it, that's an error condition because that means I'm not going to be secure. So we're going to say run 825 specifically for this website, and for another website, javatester.org, we're going to run 767. So we're pinning down a particular website to a particular version of Java. So let's go ahead and re-update our group policy on the Citrix machine. Let's go ahead and see what happens at that point. Now we're ready to head back over to our client machine. That's actually the guy we're on. Okay, now we're ready to run Internet Explorer again. And now let's go over to java.com. So before, again, this is coming from the Citrix box. So if we go to do I have Java here, verify Java version, boom. As far as the browser's concerned, you are using 825. Before you were using the latest version, now you are mapping a particular website to a particular version of Java. If we were to go to javatester.org, okay, a different website, actually, yeah, there we go, javatester.org. Let's test it over here. What does this report? Well, this would have also reported the very latest version, but now we've mapped it to, boom, 767. That's exactly what we said we wanted to do inside the GPMC. So just like that, you can have the latest version of Java for security purposes, but have an earlier version Java for compatibility purposes. Let's keep the good mojo going here. Let me show you another thing that happens very often in Citrix land, or desktop land for that matter. Let's say you're hanging out in Firefox or in Chrome, okay? And you know that some application some browser will only work perfectly with a certain website. So for instance, let's say I've got Chrome here and I've got Firefox over here. Let's say you're having a good time. You're over here in Citrix.com, Citrix.com. Oops. And everything's going great in Citrix.com here. But you know that, for instance, the PolicyPak website, for instance, only doesn't work perfectly unless it's Internet Explorer. Well, you can start another tab. Don't blink. Here's the magic. www.policypak.com. Watch this. We're going to close the tab and open up the right browser for the right website. Did you see that go? And this is coming from Citrix. This is not local to the desktop. This is happening all on the Citrix server. I can show you that again if you want to here in Chrome land, so don't blink. I'll be here on the Citrix server. I go to policypak.com and boom, we route you over to Internet Explorer. If you're in Firefox as well, I've actually set up a couple routes. In fact, let me show you what routes I've got set up so you can see how easy this is to do. So PolicyPak browser router demo, he's already ready to go. Let me click edit on this guy. It's as simple as saying, when I'm on this wrong website, route me to the right browser. So if I go to PolicyPak browser router here, okay, these policies are set up. So I've got, whenever I go to policypak.com, head on over to Internet Explorer. Whenever I go to Firefox, actually, whenever I go to mozilla.com, make me use Firefox. Whenever I go over to Google, I want to go to use Chrome. Whenever I go to Facebook, block it. All right, well, let's see that. So here I am, I'm in Firefox land. Let's say I decide to go to google.com. Remember, I'm in Firefox, I'm in the wrong browser. The right browser would be Chrome. And what do? Close the wrong browser, open up the right browser. Now you're in this browser and you decide you want to go over to mozilla.org. What do? Close the wrong browser and open up the right browser. And then you decide you want to go to some place like Facebook, facebook.com, and that is not allowed. This is all happening on the Citrix server, or of course it could happen on your local desktops, just like that. We call this PolicyPak browser router and it's built in. You just have to make the decision if you want to use the on-prem version, the MDM version, or the cloud version. The next thing I want to show is this idea of privilege management. So again, here's an application that is running from the Citrix box. And the thing is that, you know what, I'm just a standard guy. I'm just a regular guy when I run this thing. But you know what? This application only works perfectly when it's being run as an admin. Now, not every application is a good candidate for this. In fact, there's more that are on regular desktops than there are in Citrix land. But I want to show you this idea of elevating the process to run perfectly as needed can be done not only on the desktop, but also on Citrix. So you can see this is being prompted from the Citrix box for UAC prompts, but you know what? That's not the best way to do this. The best way to do this is to create a PolicyPak least privilege manager rule, which I've already got set up here. Let me go ahead and link enable that guy. And then I'll go ahead and click edit just to show you what it looks like here. And what we've done, this time I've decided to do this on the user. So I've said, whenever this user logs on, I want to use least privilege manager to let tree size free run as admin. So what I've done was I've found the digital signature of the vendor and I've tied it down to the file. And as such, it's ready to go. There we go. And I'm running this process with elevated privilege, just that simple. So if I go back over here, 10 seconds ago, when I double clicked on tree size free administrator, it didn't play ball. But now that the rule is set up, this time when Citrix goes to run the app, the process is injected correctly with the token that we need in order to get the job done, and no more running with admin rights. He's able to select the directory, scan the whole C drive, and so on. So this works, again, not just in Citrix, but also in VDI land and also for your real desktops as well. The last thing I want to show you is probably my favorite, the idea of you've got these applications that are kind of hanging around in Citrix land, but you know what? This is your real desktop, and it is freaking hard to get the shortcuts that are here to get the shortcuts that live here to actually now live in the Windows 10 Start menu. And in fact, you could try to do it yourself. It's really bloody hard. In fact, if you take a look at the kind of target, you can see that we've got the Citrix plugin, and it points to the application, and oh man, what a mess. So what we can do is we can use the PolicyPak Start Screen and Taskbar Manager. So I've got a policy here, and it's ready to go. And I've got this one. This one is a little bit, you have to kind of go with me on this one. Hang tight. Let me show you how this thing works. So here in the Start Screen and Taskbar Manager, I've got these two little folders. One folder says, hey, do this stuff when I'm on a normal desktop. And I'm going to show you that one first. So on a normal desktop, I'm going to create a group called Citrix XenApp Apps. And I'm going to shove in Chrome, Firefox, and a link to a full Citrix desktop. The way you do this is super simple. You simply right-click, add a new desktop application tile, and you kind of follow the wizard along. You can make it a registered or a custom application. I've already done this to make this kind of go a little bit faster. So now this is my real desktop who's going to get these settings. So 10 seconds ago, my Citrix apps are not here. On my real machine, if I run GP update, in fact, you can watch this in real time. It's pretty badass. Watch this. So what's going to happen here is we're going to get a group in real time on the real machine that's going to be our Citrix XenApp apps. So instead of having a floppy folder that's hanging out on your desktop, now you've got a real beautiful Windows 10 start screen that you can choose, and you can pick Chrome, you can pick Firefox, and that is amazing right there. I just love showing this part off. And then the last thing I want to show is, well, what happens if you're inside a Citrix desktop? So let me go ahead and close that out. So let me go back here. Remember, I said I have two folders here, one for normal desktops, but one when I'm inside Citrix land. How do I determine that? Well, I'm using Group Policy Preferences' item level targeting. You probably already know how to use it. So you click on, you can say, hey, whenever I'm in a terminal server session, that's when I want to do these things. So I've got a group called my Inside Citrix group, and I'm going to shove in Firefox and Chrome. Well, let's see it work. So if I'm here in my real desktop, and I click into my Citrix desktop, I've instantiated an RDP connection as a standard user. And what's going to happen now? Well, at this point, the PolicyPak is kicking in inside the desktop session. And if all goes well here, what we should see, boom, the inside Citrix group icons. And this is now running locally to the Citrix box. I can click on Firefox, I can click on Chrome, and all the stuff I showed you earlier, of course, also works inside. So if you're in the browser and you need to go to the right browser, like I said, you want to go to policypak.com here. What are we going to do? Browser router kicks in here, and so on. It all is one unified system. No brain power involved. You already know how to use it because you already know how to use group policy. And just like that, you become the rock star that your company needs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up, if you think that was cool and you want to you want to help get the message out, let me go ahead and get that PowerPoint up one more time here. So like I said, whoops, let's get to that last slide. What are you going to do in order to win the book? And also maybe have a cup of coffee with me. You see what I did right there? Yeah, I'm coming out of the coffee. You tweet, you got to try this at PolicyPak on #Citrix. When you do that, I'll see you. And then I will, if you're the winner, I will reach out to you and send you a copy of my book. I think that's it. I'm 20 seconds under time. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand it back over to my pal, Eric.